care who's happy, as long as it's not us. I just wanna spend my time with someone I don't trust. I couldn't waste all of these wasted hours without prescription drugs, as long as it's not us.
I'm pleased to say that Lachlan Bryan's on the phone. We're going to talk about his brand new album. It's called As Long As It's Not Us, and we're going to be featuring the title track tonight as well. Lachlan, thanks for joining us, and congratulations getting some new music out and about.
Thanks very much. It's always a pleasure to join you guys, and it's always a pleasure to get new music out. It's my favourite thing to do.
Has it been a challenge under these circumstances?
You would think so, but we actually recorded this album mostly before the COVID lockdowns. So most of this album was recorded at the very start of 2020. It was mixed and mastered and finished during lockdowns. Fortunately, that's something that you don't have to all be in the same room for. You've all got to be in the same room when you're playing, but you don't have to be in the same room afterwards. We did add a few songs at the last minute, and again, we got lucky. We were able to do that between lockdowns here in Melbourne. And, we even managed to get a live album out in between, which was recordings from back in 2019 that we packaged up into a live record. So actually getting music out into the world is something that we've been able to do more than we expected to. So there have been lots of things we haven't got to do, lots of fun we haven't had the chance to have, but we have been able to put music into the world, and that has kept me alive.
We're talking to Lachlan Bryan. He's got new music out. Of course, it is Lachlan Bryan and the Wilds. How do you know when you're a prolific songwriter, as we know, how do you know that it's a Wild song and not a song for someone else?
That's a good question, and it's one that I grapple with more at the moment than ever, because I'm involved in three other projects actually. I have a project with Catherine Britt, which we're kind of going to be showcasing at Tamworth. I also have a collaboration with a friend of mine, Hannah Aldridge from Alabama. We've got a project together as well. But I think that there is something about a song. I kind of know it's a Wild song if when I'm writing it, I can picture being on stage with the guys singing it. The other thing that sometimes lets me know that it's a Wild song is that I didn't write it at all. One of the other guys wrote it, and the other guys all write for the band. More than ever, they've contributed on this album. So those would be the two ways that I can tell it's a Wild song.
Aside from the song that we're going to be playing tonight, As Long As It's Not Us, tell us something else that we must listen to on the album.
Well, I'd love you to listen to the opening track. That was actually the last song recorded and written for the album. It's called Okay to Love. It was an idea kicking around in my head for quite a while. At the very last minute, Sean and I were sitting in an apartment that we have in St Kilda, which we like to call Wild's headquarters. Sean's our bass player, Sean Ryan, and I played it to him, and I'd been helping him finish the song, and then I played it in this, and he's like, well, why haven't you finished this song? This needs to be on the record. This belongs with the others. So we finished the song together that night. We recorded a demo of it that night, some of which actually ended up on the final recording, and that was only a few months ago. And I think I'd like people to hear that because it's very fresh in our minds. It's kind of very of the moment. I guess it represents how we're feeling as we hopefully emerge from these dark times.
Emerge we will, and it's great to have the music to do that as well. What about from production point of view? Are you doing much of that as well?
Yeah, always working pretty heavily in the studio. Damien and I work together a lot, but we're currently not allowed to see each other. And it's got nothing to do with our mums telling us that we can't. It's just that the government and the world is dictating that we can't. And fair enough too. There's been quite a bit of COVID down here. We live about 20 kilometres from each other, which is just a little bit too far to see each other, and home studio work is not allowed with people inside your house at the moment. So we both have our own studios though, and we've been collaborating on projects, and I also have obviously been working on those two projects I mentioned earlier, and another project with my friend Henry Wagons that I was working on today. There's still a lot of production work happening, but it's happening remotely, I've got in the apartment, I've got the piano hooked up with microphones in it permanently, and I've turned a bedroom into a pretty elaborate studio. We've had to make do and change the way we do things, but we've done so. Now it's pretty efficient. I actually feel like I'm making more music now than I ever have before in my life.
Mate, do us a great honour if you wouldn't mind, and introduce As Long As It's Not Us. We'd appreciate that. That's the name of the album, and that's the name of the song.
Well, I'd be happy to. This is a song that features a childhood hero of mine, Tim Rogers from UMI, a frontman of UMI. We wrote the song together, recorded the song together, and it was great fun to work with him. This is track 2 on our record, As Long As It's Not Us.
As long as it's not us, I don't care who's got the money. As long as fame. As long as it's not us, you can be sure of one thing, honey, if you're crazy.